Assalamu alaikum. My name is Tego Molasa. I am the head of Islamic Banking at Absa.
Tell us about your journey into Islamic banking and what led you to La Riba at Absa.
Okay, I look at that from two perspectives. One is my personal journey. Naturally, as a Muslim, we're inclined towards Islamic banking. The Prophet says, "Kullu mawludin yuladu al-fitra." Every child is born on natural inclination towards the religion. When I was a banker, for the first 6 years, I was doing conventional banking. And as a conventional banker, naturally the conscience that we have really gives us problem. So I made a personal decision to quit banking that time. It's at that time when I got the opportunity to work with the Islamic Bank. Then I further went to do studies. When I'd initially done my just normal studies. I went to study MBA in Islamic Finance at an institute called Al Huda in Pakistan. I then went and did a further postgraduate diploma in Islamic Banking and Insurance. That's in London, UK, Institute of Islamic Banking and Insurance. Then I went to study Islamic Studies and Arabic at Umar University. That's how my journey in Islamic banking started. Over the last 20 years, actually the 20 years that we have in banking in Riba is also the same 20 years that I have in banking industry. So for the 14 years that I have been in industry, I've seen a lot of development, a lot of growth. And that's what we're celebrating today again, 20 years of Islamic banking in the country and also in Absa.
How does Islamic banking differ from the conventional banking? Just briefly.
In explaining how Islamic banking differs from conventional banking, it's always safe to take two paths, two angles to it. The first angle is the purely religious angle. In Islamic banking, riba is haram. In so many verses in the Quran, in so many hadith of the Prophet, speaking both about riba al-fadl and riba al-nasiha, it's been made haram. Just to mention the few verses, for instance, in Baqarah 275, Allah says, أَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَى. Trade or business has been permitted, but the interest of riba has been prohibited. In another verse in the same surah, Allah says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَذَرُوا مَا بَقِيَ مِنَ الرِّبَى إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Allah is saying, for those who still engage in riba despite the warning, should prepare for war with Allah. And in so many hadiths, the Prophet says, إِنَّ الرِّبَى بِدْءٌ وَسَبْعُونَ شُعْبًا وَأَدْنَاهَا كَأَن يَنكِحَ الرَّجُلَ أُمَّهُ. In another hadith, اجتنبوا سبع الموبقات. Be very far away from the seven destructive sins. So from the religious perspective, Islamic banking adheres to the principles of Sharia. One of them is prohibition of riba, prohibition of gharar. Gharar, there's no one single word that defines gharar in English, but it's a combination of many things. For instance, there's uncertainty, there's speculation, there's ambiguity, there's ignorance, there's deception. All these things put together in any transaction, it becomes gharar. For instance, just selling to you a bird which is already it's still in the air. I tell you, I'm selling you that pigeon at this much, and then there's no certainty that I'll just be able to get hold of it. There's provision of dhulm or injustice in Islamic finance. There's issue of engaging in businesses that is haram. So in conventional banking, most of these prohibitions go ahead. For instance, if a customer walks to any bank today, to the Riba of Absa, for instance, and he says, I have a pub and I want to open an account. You won't open the account for him. Why? Because the business he's engaging in is not Sharia compliant. But the conventional banking will not have issue with that. That's the first difference, purely from the religious perspective. This one adheres to the principles of Quran and Sunnah. The other only adheres to the law of the land. Now, from the other perspective, because majority of the people in Kenya are not Muslims, and even for the Muslims who are in the country might not understand clearly what Islamic banking is. And I would like to say that Islamic bank borrows its leaf. It's just a branch under Islamic economics. When you look at the economic system in any country, it has two branches. You have the macroeconomics and the microeconomics. Under the macroeconomics, you have the real sector and the financial sector. Under the financial sector is where we have Islamic banks, Islamic insurance, Islamic pensions, Islamic capital market, and Islamic non-bank financial institutions such as SACCOs. Now, from Islamic economic perspective, The fundamental difference between Islamic and non-Islamic finance is, in Islamic finance, money is not a commodity. You cannot sell money at a return. For instance, if I give you $100 today, Islamic banking, you should only pay me back 100. However, in the Quran, Baqarah 275, we are told, أَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْءِ. Allah has permitted trade, وَحَرَّمَ riba, and riba has been prohibited. That one means that we are allowed to buy and sell goods and services from the religious perspective. So if I give you money, you only get back the same amount. However, I can buy something and sell to you. That's why we have so many contracts in Islamic finance. In buy and sell contracts alone, in the buy and sell contracts alone, we have over 100 types. So which means these contracts can even be in 500 or in thousands. So these contracts are the ones which advise us. Someone walks to an Islamic bank today, let's say walk to the Riba in BBS Mall or our branch in Isli, and you say, I want 100,000. The first question we'll ask you is, why do you want the 100,000? So you say, I want to buy a refrigerator. Then the simple thing is, as a bank, we buy the refrigerator, add a small profit, sell it to you. Ahalallahu bay. Buying and selling has been allowed. Selling money or interest has been prohibited. That's why in Kenya today, if any bank wants to start Islamic banking, we go to National Treasury. Why do we go there? Because in Banking Act, the law that governs banking in Kenya, there are two prohibitions. In Section 12A, banks are not allowed to do business of buying, selling, exporting, importing, manufacturing, wholesale, retail. Banks in Kenya are not allowed. Section 12C prohibits banks from engaging in real estate business unless those houses and buildings are for either for our branches or for staff quarters. So by getting the waiver from Section 12A and 12C, it means in essence that these banks have become normal business. You buy and sell, you import, you export, you can construct houses and sell. That also brings now to my third point is you don't need to be a Muslim to understand Islamic banking. Neither do you need to be Islamic scholar, because everyone has bought and sold. So long as you've run a shop, if you buy things from the wholesaler, add your profit and sell to your customers, you've done musawa, bargain sell. If you work today, if you work with a slave voice, you work with any company, you get your mshahara at the end of the month, you're doing ijara contract, umeajiriwa. That's why you see, in Arabic, the word month is shahr. Shahr means month. At the end of the month, you get mushahara. Yeah? The word bayshara itself is from two Arabic words, bay wa shira. Yeah? Buying and selling is called bayshara in Swahili. So long as you've done any form of business, if today you call your brother, you join hands and open a shop, so you share profit and loss, that's what you're doing musharaka contract. A bank can today invite you, give you some facilities, and then do some small business, you get the profit to share. That's musharaka. Or someone, a young person walks to a bank and says, I'm a clinic officer, I don't have any money, but I can run a clinic. He says, I want a facility. A bank, if they want, they can give him mudaraba. He does the business, shares the profit in the bank. So Islamic banking, in its purest form, is not even banking. It is just normal business. It's a normal trade. You don't need any license to do Islamic banking because you're already doing it in your shops, in your restaurants, if you are a taxi driver, if you're employed, whatever you're doing is a form of Islamic banking. Because Islamic banking is not banking, it's just a usual and normal trade. The way it is right now, it's called Islamic banking because banks have adopted those contracts. Secondly, because we collect deposits. If there was no aspect of collecting deposit, then that's just a normal trade. Today you can open in Sleep, Murabaha Limited, put a clerk there. The clerk buys things from the wholesalers, people who want to pay slowly, in deferred payment, you sell it to them at a small profit. You've done Murabaha. Timiza is one of the most basic fintech solutions because people used to use physical, we started through barter trade, exchanging goods. Then as humanity progressed, we started using gold and silver to buy goods. Then we moved to money, checks. Then we moved to plastic money, started using cards, and then we moved to mobile money. So Islamic banking is also providing solutions as the humanity progresses, as advancement progresses, innovations go forward. We're not supposed to be left behind. That's why in Absa, we became the first Tier 1 bank to roll out mobile facility, or if you like, loan through Timiza, a Sharia compliant facility. And for any product to be launched in Absa, it has to go through the Sharia Advisory Committee, set of scholars who only advise us, and they're not our employees. They don't work for the bank. They are totally independent, and maybe I'll touch on that later on. Similarly, for our cards, it's actually to solution our customers. Most of the Muslim customers that we have in this country are not able to access the benefits of credit card. Sometimes you want to travel outside the country, they only accept credit cards. They don't accept debit cards or even cash. So those customers who are being disadvantaged, we brought in the two solutions to give them. One of the key one of the key guidance that we have in Absa is the value of inclusion. We make sure that everyone, no one is left out, everyone is included, whether the micro, the smallest customer, or the large corporates, or someone who doesn't know how to use a mobile, walk to a branch, or someone who can use internet. So we have the solution for everyone to make sure that everyone is solution, and we help you do your business the best way possible.
Okay. Why is Islamic banking significant for Kenya, and particularly communities like in Isili? Why?
For Kenya as a country, Islamic banking is very, very key, because remember, the Muslim population is huge in this country. There's no clear guidance on the percent of Muslims that we have in the country. However, going by the smallest estimate, which puts us at 10%, smallest, 10 to 12% actually. So by the 20%, it means we are around 6 million in number. So 6 million people, that's huge. So the government has this agenda of making sure that everyone has access to financial institutions, to financial services. Therefore, for the government, one is financial inclusion. Secondly, we have some regions which are largely Islamic, the coast, the northern part of the country. And for those regions, for the economic growth to really be sustainable and to take place, then there must be a financial service provider who's there to solution them in what to do. In addition, we have MSME, which is really growing in the country. It's actually contributing the highest to the GDP in terms of employment. So as a bank, we need a bank, because Muslims cannot really not comfortable with conventional banking. So for community like the ones we have in Isli, number one is religious, because we know the aspect of Riba, we know the aspect of usury, and how serious it is to the Muslim community. So therefore, it's very key for them getting to have a financial solution which is in line with your faith. The risk or sustenance that Allah has ordained for you will come. So the basic belief to a Muslim is, if whatever Allah has ordained for me will come, why would I do it in the haram way? So that's why the Sharia compliant solutions are there. Yes, we do have a lot of push and pull, a lot of argument around whether the products are Sharia compliant or not. That conversation is there. It's been moving. Unfortunately for Kenya as a country, a lot of Muslims have been really failed to get access to these services, either because of lack of awareness or lack of knowledge, not knowing whether its products are haram or halal. And that's why, as a bank, we really take personal responsibility in making sure that we create awareness and train both our customers, scholars, and the staff within the bank.
Yeah.
Islamic banking is for everyone. It's a product, it's not a religion. For instance, you don't have to come from the coastal region of the country for you to enjoy the delicacies from the coast. Neither do you have to come from the lake to enjoy a nice tilapia, or from north and northeastern to enjoy a very nice camel tea. So this is a product. It's the normal banking or traditional banking that we have adheres to the law of the land, the Banking Act. But for Islamic banking, in addition to the law of the land, it adheres to the other set of law, which is the Islamic law of contract of the Sharia. And the Sharia has its source in Quran, Sunnah, Ijma of scholars. So other than that, the product is for everyone. If you go to a Muslim restaurant today, it's everywhere it's written halal, because it has adhered to the law of the land, Islamic law. That meat has been slaughtered in the Sharia compliant manner. The same way we've been enjoying the halal food in Muslim restaurants, it's the same way we enjoy the Islamic banking services. The products are for everyone, and anyone can be Islamic banker. You don't have to be a Muslim to be a customer. You don't have really to be a Muslim to be Islamic banker. However, in some positions, naturally, a Muslim will understand more. For instance, a Sharia manager, Muslim needs who understands Quran, who understands Sunnah, who understands Arabic, will be required really to lead from the front on the Sharia aspect. Thank you.
Okay. How is Absa promoting financial inclusion through Islamic banking?
Well, first, the story of Islamic banking in this country is the story of Riba, because we are the first bank ever to consider including Muslims in the conversation of Islamic banking. A team led by our former CEO, then our current MD, Abdi Muhammad, our current CFO, Mr. Yusuf Omari, the former head of Islamic banking. They walked to Jamia Mosque and told the committee in Jamia that they really want to start Islamic banking. Back then, there was nothing, there was even no single regulation. People didn't know about it. There were no experts in the country. That's how serious inclusion is to Absa. That's why today, one of the key values of Absa is inclusion. We not only want to make sure that people from every social cultural background are included in our financial services, but even within Riba, we make sure that every segment is also again considered. So we have inclusion, which is horizontal and also vertical inclusion. For instance, if you go to Riba, you will get customers from multinationals enjoying Islamic product services. Then you will also see the middle, small, the large SMEs, the small companies, the MSMEs, then the personal. Today, for instance, we are rolling out the women proposition to make sure that all the women in the country also have access to financial services that actually speaks to them. Because most of our products are need-driven. And then how do we make sure that the women are also again included? So our inclusion is both religious, business segments, and also gender-based. So for Absa, inclusion is at the center.
Looking back, what milestone and challenges have shaped Riba's 20 years journey?
When we started the journey to provide Islamic banking services, it was a very difficult task because, as you can imagine, the regulator didn't know anything to do Islamic banking. The scholars didn't understand how it operates. The practitioners didn't know. So being the first bank is actually one of the biggest milestones for the bank, first of all. And as Riba, we started with very basic products, but as we moved forward, we brought in very innovative products. For example, the Timiza, the mobile facility or mobile loans, many people understand. We brought in the credit cards. We're bringing in the women proposition. So we also have the normal personal finance to solution the salaried people. There are a lot of steps we've taken in terms of making sure that everyone gets access. In addition to that, the Islamic banking products are available in all our branches, which is a very key thing. Making the services are available in all the 47 branches. Again, when we are starting as a first bank, there were no Sharia board members before that. So we had actually to incorporate a Sharia advisory committee, which was comprising of the then chief qadi of the country and the team, and taking them through training on how to do corporate governance, on how to do Sharia governance. So there are a lot of milestones. So the challenges that we have today is mainly industry-based challenge, which is a lack of awareness in the country and knowledge gap. But Absa, as a bank, generally we've taken a very, very key step. One of it is we have created a network of imams. We are starting with 87 mosques where we are doing training for local imams. We have estimated 12,000 to 15,000 mosques in the country. Our plan is in the next 5 years we reach every mosque and make sure every imam is trained on Islamic finance and give them certificate. In line with that, today as we celebrate 20 years of Islamic banking in the country and in Absa, we spearheaded the creation of the Association of Sharia Compliant Service Providers. And our CEO, Mr. Abdi Muhammad, was appointed as the founding patron. And we are really hoping that the industry players will take the mantle next year and run with this flame forward. Because today, as we launch the association, every industry players there, The interim officials are from every financial institution, not just banks actually, from pension schemes, from insurance, from SACCOs, and also from investment banks that are there in the country offering Islamic financial services. So that association is one of the key milestones because being one of the key supporters, sponsors, and also the pioneering patron, being our CEO, is one of the ways through which we wish to remove the main challenge, which is awareness and knowledge gap. The other key challenge, of course, is the regulatory framework. Yesterday and today, we've had Islamic Finance Conference 2025. It's the first ever annual Islamic Finance Conference that we again sponsored, and it was attended by regulators, by industry practitioners, by local scholars, and foreign scholars. For instance, we had officials from the Association of Islamic Finance in Tanzania. We had professors from Malaysia. Professor Hassan was here with us in the conference. Founders of other Islamic banks were also with us. The two-day conference discussed on where we are in regulatory issues, and then where do we need to go from here, and how do we get there. So the challenges that are there as a bank, and also as a market leader and a thought leader, we've taken the leadership from the front to make sure that every bank is vetted, every bank is supported, and every player in Islamic finance sector has the right regulatory framework to support them to serve the customers.
Okay.
Sultana, of course, for those who understand the Arabic language, it means empress or queen. So this product is actually tailor-made for the women folk that are there. If you look at history of Islam, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was originally and for the first time employed by our mother Khadija, by a lady. So Muslim women historically have been very good merchants. They have really contributed to the economy. But today, because how the systems are set in the country, they are mainly locked out. So the products that we have, first of all, to increase the financial inclusion and also in the spirit of affirmative action, the products are more friendlier as compared to the other one, so that we can have supporting them. So we've come up with two major products for those salaried women and also women in business. Some of the key things is how we give them financial guidance and advice. We've created free quarterly networking events for them to interact with other women who are successful in business and in their career. We've incorporated issues to do with mental and emotional support that they'll be giving free services on the same. Of course, these accounts have a higher withdrawal limit through ATM of 100,000. And then in addition to that, if they can maintain certain amount, let's say for 50,000 for salary, we usually invest that money and we pay them profit of as high as 3%. So the features are really, really good. And even in our banking hall, we have tweaked to make sure that they are served properly. Then again, we have these benchmarking trips that we've organized for women. So today, a lady who's doing business in Italy or any other part of the country can go and benchmark with how women are doing business in Turkey, for instance. They can talk sister to sister, understand. There's nothing can grow your business more than networking and also learning from those who have really succeeded in doing those businesses. So from accounts to different types of loans, for instance, for the salaried women, we've enhanced the products as compared to the others. They can take a facility for up to 7 years. So the features are really good. And we are actually making a very, very deliberate effort to push the product and make sure that as many women as possible have access to financial inclusion. Sometimes you look around and realize many of the sisters and the mothers around us don't own land, or do not access to title deeds. So how then do we come in and make sure that they get a facility in a way that really empowers them without having to take them through the long, rigorous processes? Of course, there are some existing products that we have, like the Timiza, will really help as well. Because in Timiza today, you just download the app, and then you go to the Riba option, you get a facility, no application forms, no collateral, no title deeds, no motor vehicle logbooks, no one will ask you for very 6-month bank statements. There are a lot of good things that we are doing, and Sultana will actually upgrade our sisters, our mothers, to the sultanas that they're supposed to be.
What is next for Riba?
We're looking forward to connecting Islamic banking business across Africa. We operate in 12 countries. In Africa, the Muslim population is huge. If you look at Nigeria, for instance, the most populous country in Africa, and Muslims are the majority. Ethiopia, the second most populous country. So we're looking beyond the country. Today, we've done the Islamic Finance Conference to bring the practitioners and regulators together. We've actually supported the creation and the launch of the Association of Islamic Finance Practitioners. Our future, we're looking beyond Kenya. We're saying, how do you unite, bring together the expertise that we have in Ethiopia, in Tanzania, in Rwanda, in Egypt, in Burundi, all the way to South Africa, the whole of Africa, and move this agenda of Islamic finance forward and make it a Pan-African solution.
I am done from my part. So what is your last parting shot?
Communities in Italy, I only have one verse that I mentioned in the morning, and I repeat again. Be a Muslim in everything that you do. Don't be a Muslim that goes to the mosque and then engages in haram after that. Don't be a Muslim that stands up for tahajjud but engages in business dealings that don't conform to Sharia. Even for those who don't believe that Islamic banking is Islamic, even for those who don't believe, we are still safe on the side of Islamic banking. The issues of fiqh is understanding. The word fiqh itself means understanding. We don't all understand things the same way. As a lecturer in Islamic finance, as a student of many Islamic finance scholars, as a practitioner who's been in this industry for the last 20 years, I do not personally have any doubt in Islamic banking. You might have individuals maybe doing one or two mistakes here and there, but I do not have. But even for those who don't believe it is Islamic, we have the principle of akhafu dararain, akhafu sharrain in Sharia. When the two evil come to you, you pick the lesser evil. You think if two harms come to you, you pick the lesser harm. That's my call. We cannot all become experts in one day. We cannot all believe the product is Sharia compliant in one day. We cannot all buy into what the scholars are saying in one day. But even if you're at 1% understanding, or 2%, 3%, so long as you see some element of Islam, then it's better than the conventional bank that is, we all know is 100% non-Islamic. We are safer on the side of Islamic because it's lesser of two evil. But my belief, my conviction as a lecturer, as a practitioner, as a Muslim, and as someone who has studied Islamic finance, there's no Sharia compliance issues. In fact, in other countries like Malaysia who have made advancement, they have moved from compliance to impact. We are still having a lot of discussion whether we are compliant or not. So it's cool of yourself, Mikafa, be in Islamic banking, ask questions, fight, not really physical, but fight in terms of discussions and argument. Let's improve it and grow it.